In this episode, I'll be taking you to the Nikko National Park, which is still in a bit of winter, as I will try to figure out which one is better for photography, a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. We will be showing you our top 10 best photography channels on YouTube. They are the channels that we actually learn from and enjoy to watch. Just a spoiler though, we always watch humble YouTubers and you can watch them too. We will be going to popular hanami, or the Japanese term for cherry blossoms viewing. In the past couple of years, people were not able to go out because of the situation, Let us see if things have already changed. And finally, I'll be taking you to a river walk to photograph wildflowers on the macro point of view. It means that we are going to see the colors of the wildflowers closer than what our eyes can normally do.
Welcome to our April edition of Photography Japan. The cherry blossoms have bloomed here in the lowlands, while there is still snow in the highlands. Japan has amazing spring colors, and people celebrate each spring with a traditional cherry blossom viewing, or as they call it in Japanese, hanami. May I just remind you of our camera giveaway promo. It is still on. When we arrive at the 10,000 subscriber mark, we will be giving out a brand new Canon M5. Subscribe now so you can join the contest. Follow the link below to watch the video of how to join. So, hang on to your seats as you watch Photography Japan April edition.
Let's say you have saved enough money to buy yourself a camera, a real one, because you're enjoying photographing with your phone and you want to level up. And you are divided in between getting a mirrorless or a DSLR camera to start your photography. Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of using the DSLR versus using a mirrorless camera. This is the Nikon D750, a DSLR, quite heavy, and the other one is a Nikon Z6. I'm using a 24 to 120mm f4 here on the Nikon D750, and on the Z6 is a 24 to 70 f4S. So let's try and go. The first thing I notice is that this is really heavy. It's almost half the weight of the Z6. So if you are taking this, hand holding it for a while, it's gonna make you a bit tired. Well, this one is much better. It's lighter and it's easier to set. But so far I don't know if there is a difference between the photos that it's taking. Now I'm gonna take photos of this. Let me try if we can figure out the same composition and the same focal length, and then compare them with the quality. Let's go.
This place is really a mystical place for us in any season. Our most favorite time though is in autumn and winter. Now if you ever visit Japan in the coming future, go visit Lake Chusenji and the Nikko National Park. It is a photographer's paradise.
On my back is the Lake Chusenji here at Nikko, and this is a very popular destination, especially in autumn, because of the colors. There is amazing autumn colors in this place, and on my left area is a camping ground. We camp here once. It's quite nice in the summer up to autumn, but in the late autumn it would be freezing, so it's not advisable. Actually, the temperature right now is around -2 degrees, and we are starting to feel it. That's why I'm wearing my gloves now. But let's go find some more things to shoot.
The only hard thing here in the winter going to spring is that the weather could be very unpredictable. It may be sunny in a while, and after half an hour, a blizzard may suddenly hit you.
Let me talk about the viewfinders of these two because they are very different. The Nikon D750 or other DSLRs, they have this optical viewfinder. It means that what you see through this lens is the same as your looking at this viewfinder here, which is all glass. While with the Nikon Z6, we have an electronic viewfinder, so there's a little television inside that you can look at. Speaking of electronic viewfinders, there are some cameras that has slower refresh rate. Now this is okay, but if you have gotten a mirrorless camera with a slower refresh rate for the viewfinders, you may be having a slight delay of what you see and what you are going to get on the photo. So this is the difference of it. These two are both full frame cameras with 24 megapixel sensors, and this one has a sensor shift or image stabilization built in inside, while this one only has a vibration reduction and the lens. And of course, the D750 has been discontinued, so you can only get this at the second-hand store in Tokyo or any other here, maybe online at around $1,000, while the Nikon Z6 is still available new in the camera stores. You can get this new at around $2,000.
Then we came to Ryuzu Waterfalls, one of our favorite waterfalls in Japan, and we can see it because it's frozen, it's fully covered. I tried to go around and tried to find the composition, but it's quite hard even to go around. We can see anything though.
Now let's talk about availability of lenses for both the DSLR and the mirrorless. On the Nikon side, if you have the DSLR like the D750, there are lots and lots of available lenses that you can buy, you can purchase, and also they are available in the third-party manufacturers list, like the Sigma and the Tamron. On the Z6, there is a good number of lenses now for the Z mount, but unfortunately there are no third-party available, and of course the Z mount lenses are very, very expensive.
This is the main drop of the Ryuzu waterfalls at Nikko National Park, and I know you can't imagine it, so I will put on an old video to see how it looks when it's not frozen.
Here are the other differences between this camera, the D750, and the Z6. Now, why are you going to get a DSLR like the Nikon D750? Two reasons. One is the price. It's much lower than the mirrorless counterpart, and the availability of lenses is just staggeringly more abundant. Now, why would you choose the Nikon Z6? In terms of photography, there's not much difference between the two, except that you have less choices of third-party lenses, and of course it's more pricey. But if you are going to use this for taking videos, for making YouTube videos, video production, this is much needed than this one. I'm really freezing now. It's too cold. I think the temperature dropped down. It's gonna snow in a little while. It's looking like it's building up. So probably you're gonna have to go find shelter.
I hope that you have an idea on which you are going to go when you buy your first camera. Are you for a DSLR or a mirrorless? Tell us your decision in the comments down below.
Welcome to Japan, where we are now experiencing the early breaks of spring. You can see the colors around me. But on the highlands, actually, it still looks like winter. Let me present to you our 10 most watched photography channels on YouTube. Though my photography background is based on my photojournalism course, in the recent years I've been trying other genres of photography and exploring them. It would be actually arrogant to say that I am an expert of any of the genres. I'm actually continuously learning. That is why there are photography channels on YouTube that we regularly follow, because we find them educational, fun, and inspiring. We actually avoid YouTubers who are sounding a bit arrogant, the know-it-all kind of approach, if you know what I mean, to their videos. We also avoid creators who are pushing for very particular company or a product. I hate it if they do it like it's an advertorial of a company. We prefer photography channels that are simple, and humble. We learn a lot from them, and we believe that if you are into photography, you could do too. Before we go to our top 10, let us first see some of the channels that we are watching, but sometimes we skip jump because some parts are not worth watching, and this is not in any particular order.
Gordon Lang is the host of the Camera Labs review channel. He makes detailed and very thorough reviews of cameras and lenses. He also gives useful practical tips on photography. We are not just fans of his blogging tests. Of course, Matt Granger, that Nikon guy, and that was before. He has a lot to offer to beginners, but as we progressed, we have become unable to finish his videos. It somehow has become repetitive, but still we visit his channel often. Juliet Rote is an Australian fashion photographer who can offer a lot of insights in portrait photography, especially on the natural light genre. She can create amazing portraits right out of the camera, but when she sells her color packs and she becomes a review channel, we tend to jump timelines. Photo Tripper. Gavin Hardcastle is a comic and has very good photography skills. We love the photography and the natural comedy, but lately, I think it's pushing the comedy too far that sometimes it is stepping into the corny territory. Christopher Frost. This guy is kind of shy, never showing his face on camera, but makes detailed reviews of camera lenses from the expensive ones to the exotic bunch. He is so detailed that you get lost sometimes. His thoroughness and pointing out the differences in tests in different exposures sometimes loses me as they are too long. But if I am interested of lenses, Christopher Cross is my guy. And so now we go on to the top 10 best photography channels on YouTube. For natural light portraiture, our favorite is Irene Rudnick. Her art is quite exquisite and she always applies it well to her photography. She is simple, honest, and humble. Her approach in natural light photography has actually influences on our natural light portraits. For landscape photography, Thomas Heaton is our guy. He is a British photographer who takes his audience with him on his journeys. Capturing B-rolls that are movie-like, he gives you the experience of being there. Tom's photos are good, but what makes it better is that you become part of the struggle to get the shot. For camera and gear reviews, we always watch DP Review. Chris and Jordan deliver the best overviews of new cameras and lenses in a very light-hearted way. Chris' verbal powers most of the time overshadows his photography skills, and Jordan's masterful knowledge of videography has been a constant source of learning for me personally. Their combination really works well. Gerald Ondan is more of a special category for us. He is excellent in finding the tiniest of issues of problems that the cameras have. They say nothing escapes Gerald's scrutiny. So if we are weighing the pros and cons of particular gear, we get Ondan. For wildlife, Morten Heimler is an amazing conservationist. He stays in the wild for days, weeks, or even months at times to capture the images of very rare animals. His storytelling is really powerful. If you watch his videos, you will feel that you are actually there with him. We never get tired of watching Morten. For nature photography, We like Adam Gibbs. Adam's style is simple. He brings the audience to the forest and show them how to make compositions out of the chaos of nature. Sometimes he plays the flute as a background music to his B-rolls. I think it's cool, making them more mystical. You can learn a lot on his approaches and his settings. Photography online. The gang of Ruth, Marcus, Harry, and the others from The Isle in the Sky in Scotland is probably the best photography magazine show on the web. You can get everything from tips, news, gear talk, photography basics, discussions to tutorials. Their way of expressing the points coupled with their practical demonstration is really educational, not to mention the fact that they always bring the audience to the spectacular photography places. The Scottish accent sometimes gets in the way, but we have gotten used to it. Michael Sasser is an expert in intimate photography. His simplicity in explaining the variables about this genre is quite a treat. The no-nonsense practical demo is really educational. His photos are simply astonishing, and the approaches he takes are repeatable that anyone can actually try it for themselves. I'm going to try some of Michael's style if I find a model soon. Anyone? For studio portraiture, Gavin Howe of Adorama TV is a humble, simple, and no-nonsense photographer that produces spectacular portraits in studio. You can learn a lot of ways to use lighting from him. He's lively and very practical in his demonstrations that you can easily pick up the essential techniques. We are not into too much of studio photography, but whenever we do, we employ many of things we learned from Gavin Howe. Media Division is a channel that discusses cinematography. We learn a lot from it when it comes to capturing videos, approaches to the scene, and even the camera angles. We also get bits and pieces of technical settings to understand the shots. Though it is not for photography as in still photos, we use some of the knowledge you get from this channel for making our videos and the occasional documentary films we are producing.
Those are our top 10 photography channels we regularly watch on YouTube. Now, this is in no particular order. I'm sure that if you watch these channels, if you have time, you will learn a lot from them like we always do.
I am sure that if you watch these channels, you will learn a lot about photography. But of course, include Photography Japan on this list, as we will be the best photography channel in Japan. It's nice to dream, you know?
After 2 years of restrictions due to pandemic, we finally moved out, and even the Japanese people are now back here at the spring area, like this place here, to finally enjoy the coming of spring. And it's in full bloom now, and it's wonderful that you can see people finally after that. So let's go and take some street photos. Let's follow Arnie. I didn't know what she is up to, but let's find out. Cherry blossoms are in full bloom here. You can see as far as the eye can see.
There are literally thousands of trees in this riverside. As the sun went down, more and more people arrived to the area, and the street food business people came alive after 2 years of being dormant because all the events in the city has been discontinued or cancelled. It is a relief though to see a lot of people go out again, though still wearing these masks, but it gives the hope that we are getting on with our lives finally, and that we are hoping that somehow in the near future we will be getting back to normal.
After 2 years of almost no hanami, due to pandemic, the people of Japan finally came out to greet the spring, to enjoy the cherry blossoms with their family and friends. Hopefully, the Sakura Festival too will be back soon.
I'm here at the riverbank here at Arakawa River, and I'm going to shoot some wildflowers. When I say wildflowers, these are the flowers that are not actually planted by anybody. They just grow on the sides of the river, the rocks, and let's see. And today, I'm going to use an Olympus OMD EM10 Mark III. And because we're going to take flowers, we're going to use this extension so we can do macro photography. Now this is an auto lens, so we're gonna have to change it with a normal lens and then connect it with this one to get some photos. So let's see. what are the colors that we are going to get with this 16 megapixels camera. We're gonna take some videos too. I was hoping I could cross in the middle, but this has gotten a little deep. Before it was just narrow passage, and now it's gotten so big I cannot go there without having my body wet. And I'm not planning to get wet today because it's really cold.
The first thing we're gonna take pictures of are this purple violet flowers. They are called vetch, if I'm not sure though, but let me try to take a photo of this using our camera. So this is the flower close up. I'm like 10 millimeters away. Let me take some photos of this. Here is another set of purple flower, but actually I cannot pronounce what Google says it is. Let me take photos of this. So they're very colorful. Let's see how it goes with the camera. It's getting difficult to focus because of the wind that is blowing right now, but somehow you can see the colors. Let me take just a photo, but I might have to increase the ISO of this one because of I have to increase the speed as well. These are the same flowers that still are budding right now. Let me take a photo of this. I didn't notice that I lost the audio on this clip, but I saw these really tiny flowers on the ground. You can almost not see them actually, but here they are. So I took some photos of this using the EM10 Mark III. So these are twin of the flowers. It's so nice. There's a plane above me. It's crazy. Let me try to shoot this. So here are these pink flowers just across the road. And if you are looking at them, they seem like nothing. They're not so attractive, but when you go as close as this, you can see the difference. Dandelions are really common, but still, they are wildflowers. So let's take a shot of this one. This is among the flora that is easily unnoticed because it's really tiny, and if you can look at the flowers that are hiding in between those leaves, they're really cute and they are really pink. So let's take a look at how does it look on a macro level. So walking around, you can see this bunch of flowers here. I think it's the same as the first one we took. But let me try to shoot this in such a way that the other colors are presented as a bunch. Let's see. In shooting macro, the slightest movement makes a lot of difference on the focus. So I don't know if I could take this on a still photo. Now we're here, and here are
are a bunch of ray flowers. They call them nanohana in Japanese. You'll find some exotic ones. These ones are really common, so I don't actually bother trying to take photos of this. I wonder if I can cross this street and go on the other side. I think that's pushing it too much. So I found this. They look really nice, but they're too tiny. This is gonna be good for macro, so let's try to do it on a macro. I'm shooting them in a macro. It's really bringing out the colors and the texture. It's really nice. See these flowers? They are almost invisible if you're walking, but when you try to look on a macro level, they look really nice. And the color is different because it's bluish. So let's take a photo of this. So looking at them on a macro level, you can see the bluish, and blue is very uncommon. And in nature, you can see this. It's so nice. Now let's take some close-up shots of this. Nothing really interesting except for this one. This little guy. See that? As I was walking towards the parking space, I saw these flowers on the ground, and they look amazing actually. And if you're just passing by, you can never actually see them. This is just amazing. Let's take a photo. It was really quite interesting taking photos of the colors of spring, especially the wildflowers, using the Olympus M10 Mark III, and of course the Meiki MKF AF3A 10mm extension based shoot macro, and it's just fine. It works properly. Even the autofocus was reliable. And this is a micro four thirds camera. So if you have spring in your area, it's nice to see the wildflowers to take photos of them and share it to the world.
It is indeed amazing to see how these wildflowers look on the macro point of view. You can try this type of photography. It is really quite fun. And we will be discussing macro photography in the coming episodes, so watch for it. And that's it for our April show. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this to your friends. Again, we ask you to go out there and capture the beauty of the world.